Think about the last conversation you had with them. Did you go in calm and come out feeling like you'd been turned inside out? Did you explain yourself perfectly and somehow end up apologizing? Did you make one reasonable point and find yourself defending 8 other things? That had nothing to do with the original conversation. That's not a communication failure. That's not you being too sensitive or too reactive, or not having the right words. That's what happens when you try to have a regular conversation with someone playing a fundamentally different game. They're not trying to resolve the conflict, they're mining it. They need your emotion, your defensiveness, your guilt, your anxiety, your need to be understood as fuel. And every time you try harder to be heard, you're handing them more of it. The gray rock method is a tool for this situation. It's counterintuitive, going against everything that feels natural when someone is provoking you. And when you understand the psychology behind why it works, not just what to do, but what's happening in both nervous systems, when you do it, it changes how you use it. That's what this video is. Let's be precise about what we're talking about. Not every difficult person is manipulative. Not every conflict is an extraction operation. Some people are just hard, struggling, or poorly regulated. And those situations need different tools. But there's a specific profile we're addressing. The person who escalates when you try to de-escalate. Who gets more agitated when you get calm. Who finds a way to make every resolution into a new grievance. Who treats your emotional reactions as evidence they can use. What they're after has a clinical name: narcissistic supply. Psychiatrist Otto Kernberg described the narcissistic individual's relationship to others as fundamentally regular. Other people aren't quite real to them. They're objects that provide something: admiration, fear, compliance, emotional activation. Any of these will do. Positive supply and negative supply are both supply. Which is the thing that most people miss. You think that if you get upset enough, they'll understand the impact. If you go cold enough, they'll feel the distance. If you're reasonable enough, they'll meet you there. But upset is supply. Cold distance is supply. It gives them a grievance, a wound to perform. Reasonableness is supply, because it gives them something to chip at until they find the reaction underneath it. The only thing that isn't supply is genuinely boring. That's the entire premise of gray rock. Not coldness, not anger, not emotional withdrawal dressed as power. Boring, unresponsive to provocation in the specific way that a rock is unresponsive to weather. The weather keeps coming. The rock has no opinion about it. Here's what's happening neurologically in the manipulative person when you stop providing supply. Their behavior out of the provocation, the escalation, the manufactured grievance, is being run by the brain's reward circuitry. Specifically, the nucleus accumbens, the brain's primary reward hub, which releases dopamine in anticipation of a predicted outcome. When they provoke you, they have a prediction: you'll react. That prediction has been consistently confirmed, so the dopamine fires in anticipation. Before the reaction even happens, that anticipation is the pleasure. This is precisely the mechanism documented in Wolfram Schultz's landmark dopamine research. When a predicted reward fails to arrive, when the expected outcome doesn't materialize, dopamine doesn't just drop to baseline. It drops below baseline. That's a negative prediction error. It's neurologically aversive. So, when you go gray rock, when the predicted emotional reaction doesn't arrive, their brain registers a punishment, not a reward. Not even neutral, punishment. Now, here's where it gets more complicated, and why gray rock requires understanding, not just technique. Before they disengage, most manipulative people will escalate hard. This is called an extinction burst. The same mechanism that makes a slot machine player pull the handle more frantically right before they give up. The brain, facing an expected reward that isn't materializing, increases the behavior that used to produce the reward. More provocation, bigger accusations, higher emotional volume. If you don't know the extinction burst is coming, you'll break. You'll react because the behavior just got more extreme. and the moment you do, you've confirmed the strategy worked. You've taught them that the price of getting a reaction is just going higher. Gray rock is not stonewalling. That distinction matters. Stonewalling is withdrawal from connection. Refusing to engage, shutting down, it's defensive, and it reads as defensive. And it typically escalates conflict with most people. Gray rock is something else. It's selective flatness. You are present, you respond, you don't disappear. You just remove the emotional texture, the defensiveness, the justification, the need to be understood. That makes you interesting to someone running on supply. Practically, this looks like short, factual answers, not rude, not clipped, in a way that signals emotion. Just ... complete. Okay. I see. Noted. I'll think about that. These responses give them nothing to work with. There's no angle on okay. There's no wound in I'll think about that. No jading. JADE is an acronym used in psychology and support communities. Justify, argue, defend, explain. All four of these are supply in disguise. Every justification is an invitation to find holes in your reasoning. Every argument is a game they've already won by getting you to play. Gray rock responds without jading. No personal disclosures. Gray rock means keeping your interior life off the table. Don't tell them what upset you last week. Don't share what you're anxious about. Don't give them material. The manipulative person has a specific ability. They store the things you've confided and retrieve them at the moment of maximum damage. What you're looking for, the emotional register to aim for, is the energy of someone slightly distracted, a little busy, mildly preoccupied. You're not angry, you're not sad, you're not particularly interested in the provocation. You're just there, but not fully available for the game they're trying to start. One more thing. Gray rock is not a forever strategy for a relationship you want to keep. It's a containment tool. It's what you use when you can't leave yet. When the person is a coworker, a family member, a co-parent. When full disengagement isn't possible and you need a way to get through the interaction without being hollowed out by it. If you find yourself needing gray rock with someone every single time you see them, that's information about what this relationship is doing to you, and about whether containment is actually the answer, or whether distance is. Here's what the gray rock tutorials on the internet don't tell you. Emotional suppression has a physiological cost. A 2003 study by James Gross and Oliver John examined habitual emotional suppression. They found that chronic suppressors showed elevated cardiovascular response during stressful interactions, higher rates of negative affect over time, and, critically, decreased closeness in their social relationships. Because the suppression doesn't stay targeted, it bleeds. This is the part that matters for how you use this tool. Gray rock deployed as a temporary tactic in a specific, bounded interaction, protecting yourself through a difficult family event, getting through a work meeting with a difficult colleague, surviving a co-parenting exchange. That's a legitimate use of a real tool. Gray rock as a way of living inside a relationship, as the primary mode of being with someone you're supposed to be close to. That's a different thing. That's not protection anymore. That's imprisonment where you happen to hold the key. The psychologist Tara Brach describes how the strategies we develop to survive difficult relationships often become the walls of a smaller life. They worked, and now they're running in contexts where they're no longer necessary, shrinking your access to genuine connection in situations that don't require defense. So, use gray rock, learn it, practice it, have it ready. But keep asking the question, it keeps deferring. Is this a situation I'm navigating, or a life I've built around someone who requires me to be a stone, because stones don't feel the wind? And you're supposed to. The gray rock method works. Understand that before anything else, when you're dealing with someone who treats your emotional reactions as a resource, this gives you a way to deny them that resource without exploding the interaction entirely. That's genuinely useful. That's not nothing. But it's a tool for getting through. not a tool for getting free. Getting free looks different. It looks like enough distance that you don't need the strategy anymore. Like relationships where you get to be reactive and imperfect, and fully present without someone cataloging it against you. Like a life where you don't have to monitor your emotional texture to stay safe. You're allowed to want that. Not just the capacity to survive difficult people, but the kind of life where you encounter fewer of them. Because you've stopped making yourself available to be their supply. That's the longer work. Gray rock is a bridge toward it. If you're using this right now, if this isn't abstract for you and you needed it today, leave something in the comments. You don't have to explain the whole situation. Just, I needed this. That's enough. Stay detached.